A very glorious morning to all my dear students. Let's start our day with a prayer. Dear God, enlighten what's dark in me, strengthen what's weak in me, mend what's broken in me, bind what's bruised in me, heal what's sick in me, and lastly, revive whatever peace and love has died in me. Let's get started with today's work. Today, we will start over with our next chapter of Civics portion, that is Chapter 4, Key Elements of Democratic Government. Now, children, before starting the chapter, I would like to remind you all about your previous chapter that we did is Chapter 3. The name of the chapter was What is Government? In which we learnt about what is government and different types of government. Now, first see what government is. It is an institution to run a country, and government is of three types. First is democratic, in which the government is run by the representatives who are elected by the people of the country. For example, India, America, etc. Second is dictatorship, in which all the rights and powers are in the hands of one single man. An example is Adolf Hitler of Germany, Saddam Hussein of Iraq. And the last type of government is monarchy, in which the king or the queen is the head of the country. For example, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, etc. So now, in this chapter, that is chapter 4, we will study about the basic elements of the democratic government, which are written as follows. You all can see the very first is individual freedom or personal freedom. It means you are free to choose whatever you want to do in life. Next is political freedom, means you are free to follow or choose any kind of political party. Next is political equality, means that all the political parties are equal in front of law. Next is rule of law, means law is equal for everyone. Next is common good and welfare. It means democratic government looks for the common welfare of the people. Next is human dignity. It means human respect is first. Next is being informed and being involved. Here comes the RTI Act, means we have full right to take the information from the government and we all can be part of it. Next and last is respect, which means we should show respect in all forms of life. Now, children, you all can see the very first page of the chapter, in which a small story has been told which depicts the system of apartheid, which was very famous moment held in South Africa. Now, children, let's see what apartheid is. Apartheid meant separation and discrimination on the basis of race and color of skin. What all things were involved in apartheid? Apartheid was started in Africa, which means separation based on race. What is race? People were divided into white, black, Indian, and colored races. They were not allowed to mingle with each other. The belongings of the whites were well equipped as compared to the blacks. The whites were using Afrikaans language to communicate, whereas the language of blacks were Zulu. The whites wanted to hold on the blacks, so they wanted that all the people should know Afrikaans, and Due to this, the blacks started protesting against the whites. Finally, after much struggle by the blacks, a African National Congress Party was made, which was headed by Nelson Mandela, and finally Africa became democratic nation in 1994. Now, children, you all saw how the South Africa went through the struggle to attain the democratic kind of government. In next page, we will see what are the ways in which we can participate in the democratic kind of government. There are several ways through which you can participate. Let's see. Now, children, you all can see on your screen how you all can participate in democratic government. First is by voting people, you can elect the leaders, okay? Which means you can elect the representatives who can take decisions on behalf of you. Next is voice of people included, which means whatever the people says to the government, it matters a lot to the government. Next is government can be for a period of time. For example, in India it is for 5 years and in America it is for 4 years. The tenure is fixed for the government. Next is working in government and criticizing when needed, which means you can work with the people, and if it is going wrong or doing something wrong, you can always criticize the government and tell your words. Next is rallies, dharnas, strikes, signature campaigns, newspaper, magazines, social media, television, etc. These are the means through which you all can get involved in the working of the government. Let's switch to next page, which shows the topic need to resolve conflict. Now, before starting this topic, let's see what conflict is. Conflict means a serious disagreement or a clash between the wants. Now, what can conflict create? It can create violence and death, which leads to fear and tension. Discrimination prevailing in the society we live also leads to conflict. Next is religious processions can lead to conflicts. Here we can take the very recent example of Ram Mandir, which was a very disputed matter in the form of religious processions. Next and last conflict which can arise through reserve as source of conflict. For example, we can take River Kaveri conflict which held between Karnataka, Kerala and Tamil Nadu, which created a conflict between water sharing among the states. It shows that even the natural resources can become the part of conflicts in democratic government. Now, children, let's see how we can resolve the conflicts which are created in the society. There are a number of ways. The very first is by the enforcement of law and order and equitable distribution of law and order. Equality and justice should prevail in taking the decisions. Equality and justice are the central theme of democracy. Both these terms are inseparable. Equality is the precondition that ensures justice to all the people of the society or country. There are different types of inequalities in India. For example, social inequality, gender inequality, income inequality, etc. In our society, there is a general tendency to value and care more for the boy child than the girl child. So, the special provisions have also been made to prevent female foeticide. So, Number of programs have been enforced by the democratic government like Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, and there are many more. Thank you, children. Have a blissful day. Hope you have a better learning.